Who is Loki? Many people are familiar with the Norse god Loki from modern depictions, but what does Norse mythology say about the identity of Loki? Possibly the most scandalous of the Norse mythological gods, known as the Trickster god, a shapeshifter, seducer of goddesses, and father of beastly offspring. His mischief eventually caused him eternal punishment. It is Loki who began the chain of events that led to the destruction of the gods. He is at least half giant. However, some think he is full giant, but sneaked his way to becoming a god. Loki's father was Farbauti, and his mother was Laufey. It is unknown whether his mother was a lesser-known goddess or a giant, and his father definitely was a giant. This duplicity may have been attributed to Loki's split feelings about the gods of Asgard. Sometimes he is helpful to them, but other times he insults them, causes trouble, and during Ragnarok, the apocalypse war in Norse mythology, leads the giants into battle against Asgard, the dwelling place of the gods. Loki had the power to shapeshift in Norse legends. In various stories, he turned into a salmon, mare, seal, fly, and elderly woman. He also used a combination of masterful trickery and cunning to achieve his objectives. The first time Loki helped the gods was when they were building Asgard. The gods had run out of funds, and all they had built was a wall. Loki came up with the idea that a giant should finish the job for them. The gods agreed, as did the giant. But the giant asked for the sun, the moon, and the goddess Freya as payment if he completed the job on time. The gods weren't sure, but Loki assured them that the giant would never finish on time. The giant had a huge stallion called Svadilfari to help him, and the gods got nervous. Loki changed shape into a mare and seduced the giant's horse. As a result of Loki's trickery, the giant wasn't able to finish on schedule and tried to kidnap Freya. Before the giant could, Thor cracked his skull with a hammer. However, Loki, as the female horse, got pregnant and gave birth to an 8-legged stallion named Sleipneir, which he gave to Odin. Another time he helps the gods of Asgard is when Thor lost his hammer, Mjolnir. Thor asks Loki for help, and they work together to find where the hammer is located. Thermir, the giant, had stolen the weapon and taken it to the home of the giants. He would only return it if Freya would agree to marry him. Loki came up with a plan that included his and Thor's cross-dressing to get the hammer back. It succeeded, and Thermir was punished. But Loki doesn't always help the gods. Indeed, he even holds a grudge against them. During a great feast at Asgard, Loki wasn't invited and was upset. He asked the guard what the gods were talking about, and the guard told him they were talking about war, weapons, and saying negative things about Loki. Loki burst in, and the gods became silent. He then asks for a seat, and Odin finally agrees to let him sit. Loki gives a toast to all the gods except for Bragi, who he insults instead. They start arguing, and other gods and goddesses get involved. Loki begins to insult them all. During this exchange of insults, Loki admitted his huge role in the death of Baldur, and that's why he was imprisoned. This was the critical turning point in Loki's relationship with the gods. His treacherous betrayal of Baldur, one of Odin's sons and the half-brother of Thor. While the full story was spread out amongst a number of old sources, the narrative generally remained consistent between them. It all began when Baldur was troubled by dreams of his own death, dreams that his mother had as well. Seeking answers, Odin summoned a Volva from the dead. A Volva is a female shaman and seer in Norse religion. The Volva confirmed Odin's fears and told him that Baldur would indeed die, but did not reveal how his death would occur. In her worry, Baldur's mother, Frigg, made all things in existence pledge that they would never harm Baldur. All did except for mistletoe, which had escaped the oath being too young to swear. Frigg reasoned because she thought that mistletoe was so harmless that it could never cause injury to her mighty son. When Loki learned of all this, he concocted a foul plot. He fashioned a spear out of mistletoe and gave it to Hoder, the blind son of Odin and Frigg, and the brother of Baldur. Loki told him to throw the spear at Baldur as a joke, and Hoder, not knowing the spear could actually harm Baldur, complied. The spear pierced Baldur's chest, killing him. In response, Odin had a child with the giant named Arinda. That child, Vali, grew to manhood in a single day and slayed Hoder for his crime. Loki was not so lucky, as the gods devised a more sinister punishment for him. They pinned Loki against a pile of rocks and bound him there with the entrails of his son, Nari. They also set a poisonous snake above his head that would drip venom onto his face and body, causing writhing agonies that shook the very foundations of the earth. This was the Norse explanation for earthquakes. In myth, Loki was left in this tortured state until Ragnarok was about to begin. Regarding Loki's family, Loki married the goddess Sine, about whom little is known, except that by Loki she had a son named Nari, or Nafi. Loki also reproduced with his mistress, Angerboda, a giantess, or possibly a troll, who gave birth to 3 children: Hel, who ruled the eponymous underworld called Hel; Jormungandr, the sea serpent of Midgard and the arch-nemesis of Thor; and Fenrir, the gigantic wolf fated to slay Odin during Ragnarok. Loki gave birth to another of his children on his own, during an escapade with the stallion Svadilfari that I told you earlier in this video. In Ragnarok, Loki will side with the giants in a massive battle against Asgard. Loki captains the ship Naglfari, which carries many foes to meet the gods on the plain of Vigrid. Here he will meet Heimdall, his biggest enemy god, who is the son of Odin and watchman of the gods. Loki and Heimdall will fight to the end, and they are going to kill each other. So, what do you think about Loki? Is he a good character in Norse mythology? Or does he just follow his own agenda, not caring about consequences? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel by hitting the notification bell to be notified when new videos arrive. Yours truly, Mythos, the Historian.